Welcome back to the channel. Today the road takes us to the city of Bruges in the country of Belgium. Uh, we only have about a half a day here, so we'll be walking around. It's our first time here, so you'll kind of see what we see. It is raining off and on, so this will be a spotty video. Pick it up and keep recording as the rain stops. But yeah, excited to check it out. I only know the city from the movie in Bruges. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Great movie. So again, if you're new here, please subscribe. Give us a comment, hit that like button, all that stuff you're supposed to do. And let's go check out the city of Bruges.
얼굴 펴 살짝 옳지. Not so bad. Been out for a long time.
They were looking for the other chocolate shop.
Nice. Such an like ordering hobbies. Y tú no te habías jugado.
Die man hier kaufen kann. Das stellen die alles hin. Und wahrscheinlich mit dem Holz, wenn jemand darüber macht, kann man dann diese verschiedenen Formen hinkriegen. Verstehst du?
Andiamo per 5 qui c'è là. Vediamo, facciamo per il ristorante.
Ma certo che la andiamo al ristorante.
Wait a minute.
Let's speak on. Yeah, we're gonna go around the square.
Let me make it up.
Ja, das ist gut. Also, das kenne ich halt nicht.
Ariel, mamá.
Стирал раз и все, и без этого. Ouais.
Dali. Witgesonderd.
I'm guessing bicycles only. Oh, bicycle zone maybe. We're learning Dutch by street signs. What? Are now clear. House of House. A chocolate museum. I moved to get out of the car's way and stopped right in front of the garage. They just built a garage into that old building. If you're gonna come here, there's parking. There's a parking structure, and you can just park. It's like 5 stories underground. You just walk right in. Don't try to drive in here. There's my producer back there. The day I got ran over in Bruges.
Was happened to it?
There's a lot of stuff they recommend seeing, Bruges in a 1 day, Bruges in a half day. Just walk around, have fun. We went to the town square. We saw the bell tower. You're supposed to climb it. I ain't about that. Gonna walk around. We're gonna try to find the hotel that they stayed at in Bruges, because I'm kind of a film nerd. Hold on, more cars. But it's easy to make a list of things you want to see in the time you have. People we've talked to here, we dealt with today, they do speak English. A lot of them speak English. We met one young man who speaks 5 languages who lives here. So you'll find people who speak your language. Try. Just try to learn a few words, although I'm not going to lie. The Dutch language is kind of difficult. We've learned some French for when we were in France for the last week. Basic hello, please, thank you. How do you say that? Where's the restroom? But the word for please in Dutch, if I remember, I'll put it right here, but it's long. But yeah. So just learn a few words. For the most part, people here, they know the language. We had a gentleman pull out his cell phone to help someone next to him. So yeah, they're helpful. Don't be afraid of that. Get out there and see the world.
quel pays?
This is the St. Anna Quarter. It's one of the quarters you're supposed to go see when you are in Bruges. It's a quieter neighborhood, not touristy at all. But this neighborhood was on a few of the lists of things to see in a day trip. So many old churches here. I am the one who knocks.
toi trop dans les villes en général.
Okay. And so then first of all, in front of us, we have the church of Our Lady. And so dating back to dating back to 1280, she towers above all the roofs, as she is the second tallest brick stone building of Europe. The church has a height of 122 meters and she houses an impressive art collection, of which the most famous piece is the Madonna with Child from Michelangelo. Okay, and so then here in front of us is the Bonifacius Bridge from 1910. We also call it the Bridge of Love and Luck, because we believe that it brings luck when you kiss your loved ones above or under the bridge. So everybody please don't hold back. I promise I will not watch. As for the solo travelers, you can always kiss your captain. Okay, so for the ones who are not ready, you'll get another chance when we come back. Or if you want to double your luck, also possible. So that all the houses you see here on the left, these are private houses that were built between the 17th and the 19th century. And then the building that we are seeing behind the bridge on the right is the old St. John's Hospital from 1188. It is one of the oldest hospitals of Europe and it was in service until 1976. Now you can still find a pharmacy from the 17th century inside, as well as the museum of the 15th century place of Memling. Okay, so now we are gonna go under the lowest bridge of our cruise. So everybody, please mind your head. Also, we are gonna come very close to the swans, so keep your hands, your fingers, and your children close by. You don't want to lose them. But first, we have to give the other boat priority.
Wow.
Okay, well done, everybody. And so then here on the right is the beguinage of Bruges that was founded in 1245 by Margarita of Constantinople. She was the Countess of Flanders at the time. Now there are still 7 sisters from the Benedictine order that are living here, and they are still dressed in the typical black and white clothing. And then the building, here in front is the lock house from the 16th century. And the lock house literally keeps us our heads above the water in the city center, as the water outside of the city center is 1 meter higher. Also behind the lock house is the Lake of Love, most romantic place here in Bruges. And so we have 70 swans in Bruges, and they all belong to the city, and they are protected by law. And so in Bruges, when you kill a swan, 5 years in jail. If you kill your mother-in-law, 1 week, because you waited too long. I'm sorry, no offense taken, it's just a very typical Belgian humor. We love to make jokes about our mothers-in-law. But so the swans, although they look adorable, they can be aggressive. And also we have many young ones at the moment. So the ones you see that are not completely white, like that one, this is the young one. They become completely white once they are adults. And then here on the right is the local brewery, the Halve Maan, where they make beer such as Brits and Straffelhendy. Okay, so now everyone, again, careful for your head.
That's on the last finger.
And then here in front of us is the St. Saviour's Cathedral from the 12th century. It is also the only cathedral that we have in our city. And then there is another story that I can share with you about the St. John's Hospital. It is a rather sad story, but it was part of our history, so I will share it anyways. So of course you have the main entrance, which is by land, but then also we have the second entrance here at the back, and that was for the people who were brought here by boat, and that were the people who were contaminated with the Black Plague. So behind the wall here you will see the stairs, and then just there is the second entrance. It is right here. And so at the moment we are sailing on the canals that we call Regen. And so altogether we have 12 kilometers of those canals, of which we cover about 5 kilometers during our cruise. They have an average depth of 2 meters, and they are mainly carp and eels living in the water. Also, the water is not only sweet, it's a mix between sweet and salt, because we are very close by the North Sea. So it mixes naturally. And then here in front of us, we see the smallest window of Bruges. It was a spy window to see what was going on the canal. And of course, it is part of the bigger hall, and that is the palace of the Lords of Bruges from 1520. So the family Bruges became extremely rich because they had the monopoly on the Grut, which is a mixture of herbs for making beer. Now the palace is a museum that tells the history of Bruges. And then in front of us we have the Grutuzer Bridge that was built during 3 centuries. The 17th, the 16th and the 15th. And you can clearly see the difference in the stones. And then the blue gate here on the right is a Groninger museum where you can find works from primitive painters such as Bruges, Bob and Van Eyck. And then a bit further, also on the right, the hotel with the yellow facade. All the glass is Venetian crystal from Murano, Italy. And then here in front, on the left, is the local brewery, Bourgogne de Flandre. They have a very interesting family history, as well as a beautiful building and a lovely terrace, as you can see. So it is definitely worth a visit. It was also my former workplace, so if anyone should go, you can say hi from Charlotte. Okay, so we're gonna go under the bridge, so please everybody mind your heads, especially the people in the back. Thank you. And then here on the left, we will see the Belfry Tower. And the Belfry Tower is an 83-meter high watchtower from the 14th century. There are 366 steps to the top. So it is clear that it might take some courage and some motivation to get you all the way up there. But once you do, you are immediately rewarded with a breathtaking view of Bruges and its surrounding area. In clear weather, you can see even all the way up to the North Sea. 2 beers might help you to get up there more easily. 5 beers, maybe not. And as you can see, the tower is tilted about 1 meter to the right, so she's not completely straight. And then behind the bridge here on the left is the old Palace of Justice from the 16th century. And so we have 43 bridges in our city center, and the bridge that we are seeing in front of us is the oldest one in town, and it dates from the 14th century. And so, as you have maybe noticed, almost all of my colleagues are men. And so I am, since recently, officially the third woman on the water since the beginning of the history of the boats in Bruges. So it is time for some change, I would say. Thank you. And then behind the bridge on the right, you will see a house with red windows, and that is the Altshuis Pelican from 1634. So these houses were built by the rich, and they were given to the poor. And then in return, the poor, they had to pray, and they had to work for those rich. But they had to work a lot and pray a lot, and from generation on generation on generation. So it is not as noble as it sounds on first hearing. And then here the canal continues straight. It goes to the Netherlands, to Sluis, and the distance is 15 kilometers only. And then here in front we have the St. Anna Church that was built at the beginning of the 17th century. And the interior of the church is an abundant baroque. And then here on the left, you'll see that dark red house. So not this one, but the second one. And that is a so-called blot house, because oxblood was put into the paint to obtain the color. And it was a typical color for the wood. And so nowadays, these houses are protected by UNESCO. And so that means that if you buy a dark red house in Bruges, you are not allowed to change the color. So you are stuck with your dark red house. But luckily now we don't have to put blood into the paint anymore, because now we have many different shades of red. And then left and right we have those typical stepped gables. And that is Flemish Gothic. And you can see them all the way from Amsterdam in the Netherlands up to Lille in France. But so more concentrated here in Flanders. And then behind the next bridge, the canal continues straight. It goes to the North Sea. And the distance is also another 15 kilometers. So same like the other one for the Netherlands, 15. Here also 15, but then towards the North Sea. And then when you look to the house where the roof is flat, there's a hole in the wall. That was for the carrier pigeons to pass the messages in between the houses. or rather the people living in the houses. So luckily before the cell phones and the telephones, we had the pigeons. And so then now, ladies and gentlemen, we are reaching the old port of Bruges, which had its glory days in between the 13th and the 16th century. The beautiful building we are going to see here in front of us is the Porter's Lodge from the 16th century. So all the rich people, they came here together to trade. During the 15th century, about 150 ships a day came here with mainly spices, textiles and gold. And just to give you guys an idea, at that time, black pepper was more expensive than gold. And then the statue we are seeing in front of us is the statue of Jan van Eyck. And Jan van Eyck was the most famous painter of Europe. He was also known as the inventor of the oil painting. And so the paintings of Jan van Eyck himself were extremely detailed. They were detailed in such a way that now we can see the diseases that the people had in those days, because you can simply see it on the people that are in his paintings. So something quite extraordinary. And so the second house behind the bridge on the right is another example of a so-called blockhouse in combination with the stepped gables and also a pigeonhole even. And so Bruges is a very small city with only 20,000 people living in the city center. We have 9 churches, 22 chapels, and 400 pubs. So we sure know our priorities here. And talking about pubs, in the small street in front of us, we can find the oldest pub in town, Café Blessingen, from 1515. And the interior is still exactly the same, apart from the toilet. Or at least, I hope so. And then a bit further on the left, you will see a big blue door, and above that door is an ugly face. And those ugly faces were used by people in the 17th century to chase evil spirits and ghosts away. And then on the first floor, above the windows, you will see nice faces, like angel faces. And that was to say, look, we are really very nice people. So don't come here. Go to the neighbors. And then another quite absurd but true story is when you look at that white house with the 2 blinded windows on the top floor, that was to avoid the window tax. Because you were only allowed to have 9 windows, and so if your house had more than 9 windows, you were accused of daylight robbery. And therefore you had to pay. So this whole area here on the left is the St. Anna quarter, and that is really a wonderful piece of Bruges. We also call it the silent quarter. So it is just very nice to have a stroll in the little streets and to maybe discover some local restaurants where you can find some good food at honest prices compared to some other more touristical places, unfortunately. but at the same time innovative, energetic, like. And then on the right, you see the statue with the little bear. That is the mascot of our city. A long time before, we had many bears in this region. And so we have 1,600 different beers in Belgium. So everyone drinks beer. A bit further on the right with the blue windows is a lovely tea house from the 19th century. But unfortunately, there's nobody there. It's finished. It's closed. Belgians drink beer and not tea. And then from here we have a beautiful view on the old Palace of Justice, and you can even see St. Saviour's Cathedral at the back. And then here on the left is the fish market. And the fish market actually was given to us by Napoleon Bonaparte. Because long time before that, Napoleon, he had stolen the Madonna with Child from us, the masterpiece of Michelangelo. And so then later on, he gave her back, clearly, because she's in the church. You cannot go and visit her. And so to apologize that he had stolen her before, he gave us an extra present, and that was a fish market that was built in 1821, and it is made with 126 Tuscan columns. And still now we can buy our fresh fish here from Wednesday morning till Saturday morning in Bruges. And then in front, the wooden facade, that is a replica of the 17th century. It was also used for the movie in Bruges with Colin Farrell. So Farrell, he had to jump into a boat from a window upstairs, and I can tell you that he had to jump many times to get the scene right. And so then, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately we have reached the end of our tour. I hope you had a good time and you liked the explanation I gave you in English. If so, a small tip for your captain is most welcome and very much appreciated. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of your stay here in Bruges.
Well, that was Bruges, Belgium. Thanks for watching. One thing I didn't tell you was in this church behind me is Leonardo da Vinci's painting of Madonna and Child. So go see that if you're here. Again, thanks for watching. Again, please, if you haven't yet, subscribe, hit that like button. What's your favorite part of the video? Leave me a comment, let me know. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll see where the road takes us. Bye.